past 6 o'clock right here on Big Breakfast. Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to the Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning
from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
Women deported for working illegally in Fiji. Registration for free water scheme now open. And strict criteria for Fijians wishing to undertake seasonal workers scheme in New Zealand. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. 4 women from Thailand were deported this morning for illegally working at a spa in Nadi. The women were found after immigration officers raided the Thailand massage and spa located at Port General. Savara Tambua has more details.
After this newspaper advertisement that caught the attention of the immigration department on Monday, officers raided the business.
There were 6 all in uniform and we found out that 4 out of the 6 were working without a valid work permit or were working without a work permit. They were with a valid visa or valid permit, but a visitor's permit. They were supposed to be here on traveling around and be here as a visitor or as a tourist, but they were found working.
Wuniwanga says immigration officers will continue to raid similar businesses as they have previously found foreigners illegally working in massage parlors and spas.
That has been proven because we've just raided one and we've found out that there were some who were working and without a valid permit. Their passports did not have and in the system did not state that they had a work permit or they had applied for a work permit.
The managing director of Thailand Massage and Spa, Rognang Phan, who also goes by the name of Frank, could not comment, saying he did not speak English well. An employee, Salashni Prasad, has confirmed the raid and the deportation. She says 2 employees from Thailand with valid work permits are still at the spa. The newspaper advertisement showed 27 women purportedly employed by the company at its Port General spa. However, Prasad says the photo is from Dubai, where Fan has a similar business. Sawera Tambua, FBC News.
Registration for the free water scheme is now open. Families whose combined household income is less than $30,000 are expected to contact Water Authority of Fiji system because they are eligible for the scheme. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
According to international standards, a person needs 50 litres of water per day. So, for an average household of 5 people, an allocation of 250 litres a day will be given for free.
So that works out to, in a quarter or 3 months, is 23,000 litres or 23 units. So the first 23 units will be free, and anything after that will be charged the normal tariff.
A unit of water costs 15 cents. So we take the 23 units, multiplied by the 15 cents, and it comes to $3.45. So for an average family of about 5 people, you will save $3.45 in your 3-month bill.
Once you register and qualify, it is valid for 3 years. The reasoning behind that is, you could get a promotion, you could venture into new business that will increase your household income, which means you then don't qualify. Because this initiative is really to help the low-income earners and the poor.
The free water can be expected to trickle in from the 1st of February.
And what customers need to do is, basically apply, fill in the forms in any of our 11 branches, our customer service offices, and provide the necessary documentation to prove that their household income is $30,000 or less.
Advertisements to help the public know and understand the free water initiative will be launched from tomorrow. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
Fijians who find jobs in the recognized seasonal worker scheme are being advised to follow proper rules and procedures when they are in New Zealand. The New Zealand High Commissioner to Fiji, Mark Ramsden, says if workers don't meet their obligations at work, they could end up losing their jobs. Shireen Lata reports.
3 New Zealand employers have already been lined up to provide employment to 30 Fijians under the recognized seasonal workers scheme next month. The employees will be picking apples, grapes and kiwi fruits at the farms.
So those are the jobs that are available there, and that's both industries are heavily seasonal. They have very large fluctuations in the demand for labour depending on the time of year, and so that's why this works very well for those industries.
The New Zealand High Commissioner Mark Ramsden says while in New Zealand, workers can only work for the employer in the job that is stated on the RSE work visa. They are expected to fulfill all the requirements in the contract signed with the employer. Tasks must be completed the way the employer has trained the workers.
Of those 24 who are going down in February, 12 will be working for Pick Hawke's Bay, which contracts out labour to pick fruit, and 12 will be working for Eastpack, which is a pack house. And then, interestingly, of the next group who go down, the final 6 who go down, they'll go and work for Seafried wineries in Nelson, and Seafried is one of New Zealand's premier winemakers, and so that's quite exciting.
Workers will be advised to leave New Zealand when their work has finished or before RSE visa expires or if the permit is revoked. If the worker stays in New Zealand illegally, they may be subject to removal and be banned from returning to New Zealand for a 5-year period. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
The Education Ministry will be identifying 100 top teachers who are willing to teach in rural and maritime schools. Dr. Mahendra Reddy says married couples who are primary school teachers will be sent to low-performing maritime schools to improve the standard of education. Dr. Reddy says he has given his officers a month's time to identify and speak with willing teachers. He says they have found out that schools in remote areas are performing poorly.
Talk to them because, we want to know that they don't have a babysitting issue or they don't have parents to look after, etc. For them, we'll give them 1 point salary increment. And we'll say, go, save in the school, we'll look after you. Once we finish 3 years, we'll promote you. We'll look after you. But go and change this school. Go change this, bring the school to where we want.
The minister says he is expecting the list within 1 month and postings will be done thereafter. Natural Waters VT Limited, which owns Fiji Water, has successfully negotiated 2 major water bottling, commercial, agriculture and conservation leases at Yangara in the northern west of Viti Levu. The company successfully held talks with the landowners of the Matangali Tawa of Nasayani Village and Yavusa Nandokana of Rambulu Village. The agreement was signed today between the Itauke Land Trust Board and officials of Natural Waters VT Limited. The 2 leases will be for 99 years each, with a starting rent of $95,000 and $70,000 respectively.
Fiji Water is continuing to grow, globally, and the need for us to be able to make sure that we manage our resources and look for new resources. And we will be doing exploratory work in these areas to understand the level of resource that's underneath.
The total land involved is over 1,400 hectares. The agreement will see landowners benefiting from employment and training. Coming up, multi-million-dollar project earmarked for Port General Marina in Nadi.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. Beautiful song from the group Firehouse and When I Look Into Your Eyes. Before that, you heard from Smokey Robinson with One Heartbeat. We'll take a short break and join us in the next hour for more music from Seal. Bulabalaga. I'm DJ Tora. Join me every weekdays, 7 until midnight on the Premium Classics. Right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The Tertiary Education Loan Scheme Board has given out scholarships more efficiently and on time this year than last year. Akosita Tale reports.
Close to 600 Topper Scheme scholarships have been given to students before the beginning of classes at tertiary institutions around the country. Compared to this time last year, many students were still facing difficulties with their application when classes began.
We have given out as many scholarships as we can under the guidelines that we are given. The onus now is on the students to go and get a place at their preferred institution of study, whichever university or the approved institutions that the toppers apply to.
Dixon Sito says effective staff and lessons learned from last year saw the effective processing of the scholarships. Sito is encouraging students and parents to come forward if there are any difficulties in getting the scholarship.
For the toppers, we've just about done. It's all out there. Those that have, the odd one or two that might be from a remote area, if you have any problems or you missed out or whatever, there's a hitch with the paperwork, come and see us. We're there to help. And I know that from the outer islands, a couple of cases where we've had to sort of, include them.
The Tertiary Education Loans Board is, however, still processing applications for the loan scheme.
For the loan scheme, I think we're working through that. A lot of the students are still ironing out their areas of study. We hope to have, as many of the students getting loans for their preferred area of study.
The Tertiary Education Loan Scheme will cover the full cost of tuition and will not have to be repaid until the student has graduated and received employment. Students from families that earn less than $25,000 a year will pay no interest on these loans. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
A task force of officials from the Ministries of Defence and Finance, as well as the Public Service Commission, is verifying information related to the back pay of salaried police officers. This has resulted in a delay in the payout to the officers. Assistant Commissioner of Police Isikeli Vuniwanga says the back pay will be distributed once the verification is completed. Regular officers who served in the police force from 2004 to 2009 will receive the back pay. Vuniwanga has confirmed that the names of eligible officers will be finalized.
Fortunately, at this point in time, it will be too early to predict any time because of the processes that is ongoing. We are doing our utmost best to effect the payment as soon as possible or practicable.
20% of the budget allocated to the police force this year will be utilized for the back pay. Port General Marina in Nadi has revealed a multi-million-dollar project earmarked to begin later this year as part of its long-term business development plan. It's expected to take 10 to 15 years to complete, with the initial cost of the development at $180 million. Christopher Chand reports.
It's a huge development awaiting approval from the government and the Lands Department. Port General Marina, the company to undertake this development, will build an industrial zone, residential area, a new marina, a natural reserve, a maritime school, and even a rugby stadium.
With the goal of wanting to start this project towards the end of 2015, provided we can get everything in place in time.
The project will take place on this piece of land adjacent to the existing marina.
The project alone will take, I would expect, somewhere in the region of 3 to 4 years just to secure the land, which means a lot of dredging in the marina here to backfill on that land, but also we need to build an access road and we need to build a bridge. So that will be the first part of the development.
Skek says the plan has been on the cards for close to 9 years, but the elections last year has given them confidence to dive into their long-term development goal.
Second part of the development will then be looking for partners. This is a multi-million-dollar development where our initial plans are looking at somewhere around the $180 million mark. I mean, just to make the land tenable and to put our first building on, we're looking at an investment of well over $40 million.
Port General Marina is awaiting the new Mangrove Resource Management Act before they complete the environment impact assessment. They have stated they want to maintain the mangroves and the rich marine environment in the area. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Anyone buying or transferring registered second-hand vehicles will have to pay a stamp duty of 3% of the purchase price from next month. The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority and the Land Transport Authority have signed a memorandum of understanding that will bring this change into effect.
This is for the transfer of used cars, where they have to pay for a sales stamp duty because it involves a legal process and you have to apply the stamp and there's a stamp duty paid, and that is the fees that we are talking about here.
A penalty of up to 25 to 50% will be enforced on persons found avoiding the stamp duty. And on that note, it's sports up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and good evening. Coming up, debutant Episaki Kahatoka impresses and Fiji Pearls win over Samoa last night. And competition in the Fiji 7 squad heats up for a spot in the final 12. We'll have the details after the break.
FM number 2 na sir na ngona nin rende manda kay Central Rental Sapo ke na rusu ko kita minichi me va na koloko ni sapola
oya wa wati soni dalai
gonga e mo zindon
na ma dikirau me na tolu kene bitu e na via kabi moliti kene porombuka
goria na lali ne kabi Bula FM number 2 na sir
The Fiji Pearls defeated Samoa 46-44 in a tough encounter at the Oceania Tri-Series in Suva last night. Debutant Episaki Kahatoka played a grand match for the home side to give coach Kate Carpenter her first win in Fiji colours. The coach was impressed with the performance of the young goalkeeper but raised concerns on the shooting aspect of the side.
I thought Episaki was fantastic. She's on debut. She has never played an international match at all, at any level. So she was wonderful. So in combination with the defence unit, they created a lot of turnovers, sent the ball back. But it wasn't shooting, perhaps shooting in the first half. But in the second half, we just gave away possession. So shooters weren't able to take attempts.
Meanwhile, in the last match of the series, the Pearls take on the Silver Ferns at the Vodafone Arena in Suva from 6:30 p.m. Competition is at its peak for a spot in the final 12-member Vodafone Fiji 7 squad to the Wellington and Las Vegas tournaments. The current 18-member squad is in camp at Pacific Harbour, where Samisoni Viriviri and Benito Masilevu will join the team on Monday. Rohit Deo has more.
The inclusion of the two France-based speed stars will intensify competition within the squad, as no one's spot has been confirmed in the final team. The team coach says bringing in the two will make other players step up a notch if they are to don the national jumper.
Immediately it's about qualification, and I felt those two are going to add competition and depth of quality, both excellent players. I hope they come back onto the island fit and healthy and hungry. I've got a feeling they will, and if they can put the performances in that they put in last year, then they're going to be pushing very hard for not only to be in the 12 but also be starting members of the side, and looking forward to seeing them.
Nasoni Rocco, who was in the squad last year, has been left out, as the mentor believes that the veteran is out of form and needs more game time.
You know, I've spoken to Sonny, I watched him at Olinikau Sevens as well. He's hitting a bit of a dip in form. Happens to every player, and it's got nothing to do with age or anything like that. It's just, you know, dips and highs come all the time in your career. So just said to him, you know, get some games under your belt, get that confidence back, come back into camp after Las Vegas tournament, and then try and fight back into the squad.
Ryan says he is not in a rush to name his final squad.
I want to leave it as late as humanly possible so that I see the two boys from France, I see how they get on with everyone else, and we pick the team on what they're doing on the field. So I'll probably annoy all the people that are booking flights and naming people and everything, because I want to leave this right up to the last minute.
The team goes through another week of tough training this week before Ryan cuts down his squad to 16 on Friday. The players have come a long way to be in the running so far, but they'll need to work a lot harder if they are to play in Wellington and Las Vegas. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
The 39th Fiji Betamara Sevens promises to be an even bigger and better tournament this year. With 82 teams to compete in the men's and women's divisions, organizers are making wholesale changes. They want to ensure it lives up to its reputation as the premier sevens event in the country, as well as pave the way to the 2016 Rio Olympics. The changes include increasing the number of women's teams competing from 6 to 12, 1-minute halftime breaks in pool matches, a fourth ground to host games, and the extension of the games village.
That all teams will receive prizes, and this is a norm now at the Fiji Water Maris Sevens. So we'll have 64 teams in the main cup competition, 12 in the ladies, and of course we'll have our 6 Golden Classic oldies. So a total of 82 teams competing at the Fiji Water Maris Sevens. And I must encourage all officials and players to please register your teams early. Last year was a big disappointment for about 26 teams. 26 teams we actually had to refund their money back. And it is sad to say that because it is the players that are doing the hard yards in the training. So I'm encouraging the officials to please register your teams early.
The Fiji Water Maris Sevens will be held March 6th and 7th at the NZ Stadium in Suva. Sikobe Tulakemba has been elected as interim president of the Nadi Rugby Union. This after affiliated clubs from the union called for a special meeting to sort out the affairs of the jet set side. Josephine Navula was at the meeting and files this report.
Nadi rugby clubs came out in numbers to voice their concerns about the poor performance of the management and the players in recent time. During the discussion, Life member Dr. Anaret Tundraki raised major concerns of how the union was handling its finances over the past few years.
I noticed that in the past few years, there was a selected treasurer for the rugby union, and then there's a different person keeping the money. How is that possible? There's supposed to be only one treasurer and he keeps all the money.
Tundraki also says the officials did not follow the right procedures in electing the president.
President, okay, just raise your hand. So they can form the union and go on with the rugby name. So even that was wrong.
Delegates from clubs also raised their concerns and say they will be working together with the interim committee to better the status of Nadi Rugby. Newly elected interim president Sikobe Tulakemba assured the delegates of a new beginning.
So it's been quite some time now. There has not been any quorum, and now that we have come together to discuss this matter at Nilangi, we need to make a new move and a way forward for Nabatulivu. And speaking from my position of Western Marine, I want some matters to be solved here at this meeting. First of all, I want the constitution to be dissolved, and I want a new interim committee to be selected to take us forward.
The interim president and his committee will run the show until a new date for the AGM is set. In the meantime, the Vanua of Nadi want its team to get back to winning ways and hope this is the start of brighter things to come. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Football Association has changed the division names of its Galaxy National League. The Super Premier grade will now be known as the Premier Division, while what was the Premier Division will now be called the Senior grade. This was announced during the launch of the 2015 league season in Suva last night, where sponsors CJ Patel Group of Companies announced a total of $160,000 for the competition this year.
Yes, we have made a change because the sponsors with us, with the Fiji FA, had decided Super Premier, calling it Super Premier. It's a long name. Everywhere else it's called a Premier League and everything. Then we'll go move to the same thing as Premier League and the Senior League, and so that's where it will go back to. But and then it becomes easier for people to call and remember it's Galaxy Premier League. So that is the reason the name change came.
The league starts on Saturday afternoon with 2 games at Ratudakambau Park and Nausori. Tailebu Naitasiri takes on Nadi at 3 o'clock, followed by Rewa and Lambasa at 5:30. Local table tennis players have been getting sound advice from experts as the countdown to the Pacific Energy Fiji Open continues. Coaches from around the region are holding a workshop with players, helping them develop their talent and upskill their knowledge of the game.
So basically, I feel that kids need the training and they need to play not so much every day, but they need to, of course, be here a lot more. When international coaches come or international players come, it's always good for those kids to actually get involved with those players and ask questions, because they've never, players are always keen to offer advice and stuff like that. So that's probably the number one thing to do. So it's great for them, yeah.
The Fiji Open starts tomorrow in Suva. That was your sports for tonight. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Attorney General and Minister for Finance Said Qayyum says this is the time for Indian investors to take advantage of new opportunities in Fiji. He told members of the India-Fiji Business Promotion Association of a new wave of optimism in the country with the election of the Fiji First government led by Prime Minister Vurengem Bainimarama. Said Qayyum says bilateral relations between the two countries are at a new high with the recent visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Fiji. He adds as a result of discussions with Bainimarama, there are now many opportunities available for both Fijian and Indian investors and commercial interests that could be explored. The India-Fiji Business Promotion Association, which currently has 65 members, promotes and facilitates trade and investment between the two countries. Said Qayyum is heading a government delegation in a series of high-level meetings in India. Mainly fine weather prevailed over most parts of the country today. Category 1 tropical cyclone Nico was located just east of Tahiti at 3 p.m. today. The associated cloud and rain are affecting the northern Cook Islands and French Polynesia. Meanwhile, another trough of low pressure affects Tuvalu and extends southwest over Rotuma. Maximum temperatures reached the 30s again today. Suva and Nadi topped with 31 degrees. Some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands, elsewhere fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers, isolated afternoon or evening thunderstorms with heavy falls expected. Further outlook, Saturday's outlook is much the same, some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands with a chance of isolated afternoon or evening showers and thunderstorms. And recapping our main stories. 4 women from Thailand were deported this morning for illegally working at a spa in Nadi. Registration for the free water scheme is now open, and Attorney General and Minister for Finance Said Qayyum says this is the time for Indian investors to take advantage of new opportunities in Fiji. Now to our poll question for this week, we're asking, do you support the reintroduction of external exams? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's our news for today. Join me again tomorrow. Good evening.
Ni sambulo bina kana turna na kini marama ni bulo bina kana doro bo kini mone lewa ni sambulo bina kana mone en do tale no na ngona ni wa katalao en mataka en dai
en na vendelana mai nei tasiri
no bulo maleka go ni melote nai sorto boa
en na lomo ni vonua mai sanganga
yo bulo go Samuel na no ngona ni wa katalao en radio Fiji One nandomo vitina vonga ni vena mai no kini diwa en be mataka moni tiki na pagruka ni kai namaka